Hello there, fifth graders, and welcome to your next math lesson. Go ahead and open up your math notebook to the next available page. And at the top of that page, write the title of today's lesson, which is Convert Metric Units of Length. Now, there's two things you have to know before you can jump into today's lesson. The first thing you need to know is that there are 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter. There's 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter. There's 100 centimeters in 1 meter. And there's 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. Whoops. KM is the abbreviation for kilometer. There. So that's the first thing that you need. And that's all the different conversion rates in the metric system for length. 1,000 millimeters in a meter, 10 millimeters in a centimeter, 100 centimeters in a meter, and 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. The next thing you need to know, and this is review, is that when you're going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, you multiply. When you're going from a smaller unit to a larger unit, you divide. That's it. And that you always multiply or divide by the amount of the smaller unit that can fit into one of the larger unit. So the cool thing about the metric system is we're always going to be multiplying or dividing by one of these numbers, which means we're always going to be multiplying and dividing by powers of 10. And that's a lot easier than multiplying by other kinds of numbers, because when you multiply or divide by powers of 10, all you have to do is move the decimal point either to the right or to the left, depending on if you're multiplying or dividing. Let's do an example together. Let's say we have 700 centimeters, and we want to find out how many meters that is. So we start with the number we have, 700. Now we're either going to multiply or divide. If we're going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, we multiply. If we're going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, we divide. We're going from centimeters. We have the answer in centimeters. We're trying to find it in meters. Meters are bigger than centimeters. Centimeters are smaller than meters. So we're going from centimeters to meters. That's a smaller unit to a larger unit. So we divide. So it's going to be 700 divided by the amount of the smaller unit that can fit into one of the larger unit. And since there's 100 centimeters in 1 meter, we divide 700 by 100. 700 divided by 100. And the cool thing about dividing and multiplying by powers of 10 is all we have to do, like I said, is move the decimal point to the right or left, depending on if we're multiplying or dividing. And we move it the amount of times as there are zeros in the divisor. Now, if we're dividing, that means the number's getting, the answer should be smaller than the dividend. So we're going to want to move the decimal point to the left this way. But if we're multiplying, that means the product should be bigger than the factor. So we're going to want to move the decimal point to the right this way. So, but Mr. Dauber, there is no decimal point here. Sure there is. It's right here to the right of the ones place where it's always hiding if it's not shown. So 1, 2, the decimal point is now right here, which means 700 divided by 100 is 7. So 700 centimeters is 7 meters. Let's do another example together. Let's say we have 8,500 millimeters, and we want to find out how many meters that is. So it's going to be 8,500 either multiplied or divided by something, by a power of 10. And since we're going from millimeters to meters, we're going from a smaller unit to a larger unit, we're going to divide. So it's going to be 8,500 500 divided by what? The amount of the smaller unit that can fit into one of the larger unit. Since 1,000 millimeters can fit into 1 meter, we divide 8,500 by 1,000. Now the decimal point's hiding right here. We move it over to the left 1, 2, 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So now it's right there. So the answer is 8 5/10, or 8.5, also known as 8.5. Okay, let's do another example together. Let's say we have 15 kilometers. And we want to find out how many meters that is. So we start with 15. We're either going to multiply or divide. We're going from kilometers to meters. So we're going from a larger unit to a smaller unit. When we're going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, we multiply. So it's going to be 15 times something. Okay. Now, what do we multiply 15 times? Well, since there's 1,000 millimeters in 1 kilometer, we're going to multiply 15 times 1,000. And 15 times 1,000 means the same thing as 15 1,000 times. So the answer's 15,000. And, you can see that we really just moved the decimal point over 3 places to the right, because if you start with 15, the decimal point's right here. There's 1, 2, 3 zeros in 1,000, so you move it over 1, 2, 3 times. It goes right here. You fill in all the pockets with 0. 15,000 is the answer. So 15 kilometers is 15,000 meters. Let's do another example together. Let's say we have 73. Here, I'm going to kind of draw some lines to separate this from what we already did. Let's say we have 73,000 meters. And we want to find out how many kilometers that is. Okay, we're going from meters to, actually, we start with 73,000. Whatever number you have here, that's what you start with. And we're going to multiply or divide something by 73,000. Now we're going from meters to kilometers. Kilometers are bigger than meters, so we're going from a smaller unit to a larger unit, so we divide. What do we divide 73,000 by? By 1,000, because 1,000 meters can fit into 1 kilometer. And so we're going to move the since we're dividing, we're going to move the decimal point over to the left 1, 2, 3 times, because there's 3 zeros in 1,000, and the answer is 73. So 73,000 divided by 1,000 is 73. 73,000 meters is 73 kilometers. Let's do another example. Let's say we have 2 71/100 meters. We want to find out how many millimeters that is. Okay, 2 71/100. Are we going to multiply or divide? We're going from meters to millimeters. So we're going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, which means we multiply. And we multiply by 1,000. So that means we're going to move the decimal point over to the right this way 3 times, because we're multiplying by 1,000, and there's 1, 2, 3 zeros in 1,000. 1, 2, 3. Put a 0 in the empty pocket so we can see the answer is 2,710. So 2 71/100 meters is 2,710 millimeters. Let's do another example together. Let's do 9 2/10 of a meter. We want to find out how many centimeters that is. So we start with 9 2/10. We're either going to multiply or divide something by 9 2/10, or we're going to multiply or divide 9 2/10 by something, actually. And we're going from meters to centimeters. meters are bigger than centimeters, so we're going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, so we multiply. And since 100 centimeters can fit into 1 meter, we multiply 9 2/10 by 100. Remember, we can just move the decimal point over to the right 2 times. We're multiplying, so we move it to the right. Actually, it's reverse. So on the paper, wait, this way. So we're moving to the right, which is this direction. So we can start with 9.2, and we move the decimal point over 2 times. It ends up right here. We fill all the empty pockets with 0, so we can see the answer is 920. So 9 2/10 of a meter is 920 centimeters. That's how you do conversions of length in the metric system. If you are going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, multiply. If you're going from a smaller unit to a larger unit, divide. And you're always going to multiply or divide by 1,000, 10, 100, or 1,000, depending on how many of the smaller unit can fit into one of the larger unit. I'm going to go ahead and give you some independent practice problems now. I want you to do, let's say we have 17 5/10 millimeters. How many centimeters is that? And then also, let's say we have 509 thousandths of a kilometer. How many meters is that? Okay, do those two for your independent practice, and then click on the video attached under this one to see if you did them correctly, and I will see you there.